Welcome once again to Review Energy TV. Today we have a special guest with us. He's Santiago Estrada, the CEO of QBi, a company at the forefront of business management software solutions for the renewable energy sector. And as part of Energyear USA, this company is a key player in the event. For this reason, I have the pleasure to say hello today to Santiago and welcome to this channel.
Hello, Catalina. Very nice to be here.
Thank you, Santiago, and thank you for being here today. We know you are a key player not only in the renewable energy sector, but also in this new edition of Energyear USA. And going deeper in this conversation right now, I want us to start with a question not only about the renewable energy sector in the US, but also your job and your participation in this growth. And my first question for you is, what is the business management software and how does the company differ from other solutions currently available in the market, in this renewable energy market?
Yeah, thank you, Catalina. It's a good question because we certainly bring something different to the table, I think, and that's how we call ourselves in our product a business management platform, uh, as opposed to the other types of softwares that the renewable companies have available. Let me try to help you defining why do we call ourselves a business management platform. Basically, we try to help a company from a full business perspective. So then the name is not quite creative at that. But basically, we really try to cover four main pillars. First of all, we cover the full life cycle. So from early stage development to the full end of the asset management and everything in between, the development, the financing, the construction, and if there would be any transaction in the meantime, we would also be helping a company. So that's the first pillar, the full life cycle of the renewable energy project. Then we also do cover any renewable technology. So opposed to other companies that are focused mainly on solar or on wind, we are now helping companies that are doing solar, battery storage systems, wind, green hydrogen, biomass, and I'm forgetting some of them, I reckon. And of course now lately electric vehicle charging fleets. So we really cover basically any renewable technology out there. What else we help companies with? For us, it's important, for the reasons we can discuss later, that we help each and every team, all the departments in a company. So it's not just the technical teams that typically softwares take care of. We're also helping financing people, business development people, asset management people, contract management people. And within those, and that would be the fourth pillar, every level within the organization. So we're going to be helping the actual user, if you want more, the staff, people that are actually inputting data and working with the data, as well as the C levels, executive levels, and even the board level. So with these four pillars, what we have is a very comprehensive product that ultimately helps the business. You know, that's why we are a business management platform. And you were also mentioning what is different between us and the other companies out there. I think the most relevant difference is that because we have this comprehensive view, that we can break down all the silos in the organization and give the business and the company back what is supposed to be one single big but single process. So how did we come to this? And that's a conversation I typically have with company management, and they say, hey, now I have a bit of a mess. In my software setup is a mess, but that's how could I have avoided this? We grew organically, and now every team needed to solve their own need. So now we have a problem, which is we have a setup, which is a mess. But all of these teams needed something that they brought something that they needed. Okay, as I always say, QBi is your silo breaking hammer. And how we're going to be doing it is connecting each and every piece of the information from wherever the process is, from whoever is participating, and normalizing it all together. So you're going to have multiple agents intervening, internal or external. Within QBi, it doesn't matter if they are participating on a very early stage of the development or they are financing from external, from a bank, for instance. They're all going to be able to participate together. That means that you have workflows and tasks and all the handovers between the different steps all in one single platform that everybody participates on their bit, and then the process can continue to move on. So I think that's a very elegant way of working. And again, giving back the power to the company. And a very important thing also is that because you selected many of these different software setups that you needed, with QBi, you don't have the need to choose which of them now you need to use because they can or can't talk with QBi. With us, all of them are integratable. So if you are using something that works for you, continue to use it. And I think that's another big difference out there. Some of the companies say, yeah, if you work with us, then this and this and this you need to change because we cannot integrate with them. With us, you don't have the problem.
Santiago, you already mentioned that the company helps the different kind of companies into the platform for their needs. What are the type of companies that work with you not only in the US but globally,
Mm.
and how the platform works for them?
Yes. Typically, I would be answering this question, telling you about the segments of the market that we help, and I will go in there in a minute. But there's a categorization of companies that we I see a lot, which is the companies that are fully established and the companies that are sort of new or starting up to ramp their operations. And there's a very interesting difference between them that say, hey, the most established companies, they come to us with a lot of processes. There's a heavy use of different softwares and platforms and processes and people participating versus those companies that are sort of new or starting up or that are a spin-off of something else, and they come with a fresh, if you want, blank page. Those two kinds of different companies we can help. Of course, how we help them is completely different, but we're able to help them because first of all and foremost, I think we are renewable energy experts ourselves. So we are not just a software company. Of course, we are a software company and a native technology creator at that, but we are experts on the domain of renewables. So regardless of the type of company that you are, if you've been in the business for long or you are sort of new, we're going to be able to help you. We also have experience, a lot of it, in what works for each one of you. If you are a company with a heavy process that needs to be adapted, even most likely you already have bits and pieces of the solution put together, we're going to be able to help you. But even if you're new and we have companies that come into renewables with a lot of experience, what we're going to give you from day one is default industry knowledge waiting for you. How? In the sort of templates, dashboards, reports to say, hey, if you start off with this, you're quite all right already, and then we continue to build together. So that kind of support we give to those types of companies is very useful. Now, coming back to the normal answer of the question is we're helping out there typically IPPs, very large IPPs, not so large IPPs, because again, we support throughout the full life cycle. So these guys are typically going to be developing or buying projects out there or selling also, and then building them, financing them, and operating them. So that's really, I would say, our sweet spot because that's where the full power of QBi comes into play. However, we're also helping project developers, pure play project developers, which will never have a megawatt in operation in the balance sheet. And I have to say, sometimes I feel that they've been the most or the biggest forgotten segment out there. Renewable energy software have focused mainly on the companies with operating assets, whereas for us, a project developer is a really good customer, and we help them massively run their business. And also, another type of client that we help with a lot are the infrastructure funds or fund managers or financial investors that really want to have a view on how their portfolios are operating without necessarily going into a lot of technical detail, but still they really want to see how the business is doing. So that's companies that we work with quite successfully.
Santiago, you already mentioned something so interesting that you are not only a platform, a powerful platform, but you are persons in the company and experts. You have experts, different experts in different life cycles of the company. Since you're persons and since you are experts, you have the power to understand the needs of the company. And this is my third question. What are the key challenges in the renewable energy sector that the company helps to overcome, not only with the platform, but also with your expertise?
Mm. Yeah, typically you would be expecting, or when I talk with this kind of companies, is hey, regulation and all the stuff. But that's something we have little control about or over ourselves. What I typically see with the companies and the way we do help people out there is with a very straightforward challenge, if you want it in the statement of it, and it's hey, the complexity is growing. I, as a business, the complexity of the market around me, I mean, is growing, but I have to grow faster in this complex ecosystem, and I need to be big. I need to become big fast. Otherwise, my competitors are going to beat me to it. But I have to be way more efficient than I typically was. So, how do I, with this situation, external and internal, how do I become as efficient as I can while I grow as big and as fast as I can? And that sort of, paradox is a very challenging situation for most of them. So there are some angles to it. So for instance, typically companies would say, okay, first of all, if I need to understand where do I need to grow and what's my upside here, I need to see how am I doing, where am I, um, and to answer that question, again, you're going to need to put together a lots of different types of information: financial information, technical information, contractual information, market information, insurance information. Your company has that a bit of a scattered. So putting all that together and linking it is complicated. But if you manage to do it somehow, then you say, okay, now I have this information model, if you wish. Now where do I look? So now you spend a lot of time and a lot of resources, especially the very smart people within your organization are going to be trying to break that down. And once you have that information, connected together, they say, okay, how much do I believe this? There was a lot of manual interaction. There was a lot of downloading from different sources and reading from PDFs. And, am I getting the latest version of that document that I consider to be the one that I need to read, etc. So that's a challenge that they also feel. And then once you have this, they come up with a big question. Now what? What do I do? Is this the way I need to continue to do things? I go into the market. Is there anything out there that is going to help me bring this mess in a nice way? Or should I build it myself? And I see a lot of companies that are deciding for the make rather than the buy road. But that's the challenge that we as a company need to face. And the message I also want to give you now in this opportunity is that we can help both. We see companies that say, hey, show me what you got, and then because I only have bits and pieces and a lot of Excel, and I wanna go with you, and that's perfect. But also companies, typically larger companies that they have invested time and a lot of resources, say, hey, no, I have already my software guys that help me. What can we do without breaking all that stuff that you can sort of salvage or get or see us, so that you can make part of the QBi platform, and both of us we can actually work with. So I think that's an elegant way of solving those challenges.
You mentioned efficiency and performance. And when we talk about efficiency or performance, uh, obviously we talk about QBi and we think about your platform, but can we have some examples of how this platform, how QBi works?
Yeah, I can give you examples of what each customer or some of our customers have mentioned that we help them. For instance, saying, hey, for example, developers, and I can think of a good couple of good examples. They say, thanks to you, or before I started working with you, I had to allocate 20 or 30% of my very smart, bright people out there, the people that can connect the dots, 20, 30% of the time of those people, I need them to put things together to see where I am, to link financials with budgets, with technical, with permitting and all that stuff. And most importantly, these guys are dedicating all those resources as a developer because they have a fear of missing something. With QBi, one of the values that we give them back is that you really can trust that nothing is going to be escaping you. So you can create all your notices and alerts to say, hey, what comes next? Where do I have a deadline? Where do I have this document that I need to prepare? So regardless of the complexity of your setup, you can free up the time of the people and still be more sure than you were ever that nothing you will be missing. That's the typical use case for developers. And then for asset managers, that's more there's more numerical, if you wish, because we see people that say, hey, if you take now QBi out of my day-to-day asset management operations, on Monday, I will have to go into the market and bring 3x or 4x more people to manage the fleet I was managing through QBi. Because all this information put together, my asset management team can really cover a lot of ground, meeting once a day or once a week or whatever. But if you take all that from me, then I need more people into the problem. And then, of course, once you have all that, if you want freed up time, you as an asset management can challenge more your O&M contractors so that you can gain performance out of it. And some companies have told us about a gain between 2, 3, and even 5% just by challenging and say, hey, now I have a lot of good data that I can trust. And if I put it against yours, then I see differences. So how can we make this work? So that's a very important thing for us to manage. And then lately for the financial owners, if you wish, or funds, I think these people are typically worried and say, hey, translate all these technical, give or is kilowatt hours and lost in energy, wherever, into financials I can understand. And sometimes they say, hey, the only thing I want is the cash available for distribution. My investors, they're asking me, how do I translate the energy into the money I get back? So this process is something that we can do helpfully and continuous and fully automatically, by the way, you don't need. So we like to work with these infrastructure funds. There's another gain that they have, which is if we are lucky and they're lucky that we are working with their portfolio companies, typically the IPPs that they own or they work with. If they have QBi, then they start to see a coherence in the reporting that they get. So they can compare how well company A, B, C, and D in the portfolio are working or performing because they are all working with QBi. So the report level is good and the same.
At the end, it's all about efficiency, I
Right?
think.
It is
Yeah.
indeed. It is indeed.
And Santiago, last but not least, we know the US is not a secret, it's a powerful market for renewables. What is your plan for keep growing as you are growing in the market, your competitive advantages in this market, and your vision for next year?
Yes. Yeah. QBI in the US have always been, from day one, tied together. Nonetheless, we started as a company with being blessed by having Goldman Sachs Renewable Power and Asset Management as one of the first investors in our platform. And they helped us grow the platform from that view that says, hey, I'm going to be one of the big asset owners in the US. So let's build this thing together because I am going to need it. So just because of that exposure, you is from day one, for us as a company, we really have understood how the market in the US behaves and what they're expecting. And today, our product is really very much tied to those needs. Nonetheless, today, the US is our biggest market by revenue. So we have very, very big and very nice, happy customers in the US. However, we've been doing this remotely in the last 5, 6 years. So the mental process we went through is, hey, wait a minute, if there is such a clear product market fit, why don't we just go over there and bring all this knowledge, all this experience, this fantastic product as a local? Because at the end of the day, there is local flavor that you don't get unless you're there. So now we have established our company in the US. We have our first hiring, starting with salespeople and bringing customer success teams. And that's happening now in 2024. For next year, of course, the plan is to grow bigger. We're going to be bringing, I think the most important thing that the US market is expecting from us is say, hey, okay, I check your product I like and I can use, and I ask around and they seem to be very happy about it. But how are you going to be thinking, how are you going to solve the customer service, the support? I hear a lot of complaints or improvement areas around the software sector in the US, precisely on this, whereas for us, this is the ultimate target. I call it the company North Star. Is not when we sign a deal, it is 6 or 9 months down the road. We, all of us in the company, work towards that point to make the customer absolutely happy. And that sort of cultural, thinking is exactly what we're going to bring to the US next year with more customer success teams as we grow.
Well, thank you, Santiago, for being here today with us. Once again, it's a pleasure to have you in the Review Energy TV cameras.
Likewise, thank you very much, Karina.